Intelligence is something that is lacking in modern society these days, especially on the internet. A lot of people seem to be more obsessed with material things instead of knowledge, right? I was someone who was the opposite, right? While everyone else was going to school and basically obsessing over the party they're going to go to, I was obsessed with knowledge and finding out more about the world. I was obsessed with history, geography, philosophy, and some archaeology too. Like, I researched the hell out of history when I was like 11 years old. The flow state I would get when researching these topics would be extra mental. It would just happen automatically. While a lot of modern people get obsessed with material matters. The next game, the next party, the next experience. Thus, they never actually get anything out of their lives. They never went out of their way to research something or to learn. Instead, they just seeked experience. And not experience as in skill experience, more like partying. However, in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can become obsessed with a topic and to become intelligent, because this will increase your intelligence. The more you understand about the world, the more you're able to understand about everything else. And yes, you can say it's easy for me because I'm autistic and, you know, we just get obsessed with random topics for no reason, okay? I have this ability to get obsessed with certain topics and easily achieve flow state, but anyone can really do it. I have friends who suffer with memory problems, but they get obsessed with certain things. Like, sometimes it'll be watches, and they spend a lot of time getting more knowledgeable about that certain thing. Anyone can get obsessed with a topic, and they can get well versed with that topic in the range of 1 to 2 weeks if they research that hard. Anyone can achieve it. So let's learn. How do we get obsessed with a topic? This is what happens with me, right? I find a topic and it intrigues me. Then I find a source of information that I can leech off of and I can learn from. Then it trickles down from there. I need that information pool, because when you get obsessed with something, what is going on is that you have a massive wide range of sources to grab onto, and you are using them to learn more about the subject. If you had one video about archaeology and you found it so fascinating and wanted to learn more, but there was only one video you could find about that certain subject, then you would lose interest immediately because you can't pursue it anymore. You need a source of information to rely upon. This is why having books, a YouTube channel to rely on, a website, or even a Wikipedia page can be good. Even though, yes, some of those will have accuracy errors, it's still good, because when you have that at your fingertips, then you can easily go down the flow state of learning and you'll just go on and on to different subjects, right? So you can sit here and be like, but Wikipedia and YouTube aren't good sources. Don't make it difficult for yourself, okay? This is about you. Don't worry about these sources and if they're poor sources, because that'll be useful for later, right? You want to instead eventually conflict the information you gathered with more information you'll learn in the future. This has happened to me tons, and that's a good thing. It's a big part of learning. So the first step is to grab someone or something to gather all your information from. Yes, bias is a big issue, but you want to start off with one source. Let's say you want to learn more about history. Start off with one source. Maybe it's a YouTuber, or maybe you want to be more advanced and find a book. You could purchase a book on ancient history, or you could listen to a podcast about some random obscure topic. Gather all your information from that. So you'll start off with one source and you'll leech from it essentially. And then you branch off, because that is what will naturally happen to you when you use one source and find everything fascinating. You want to learn more, so you're just going to search up the topic and find another source to rely on. This increases your obsessive research rate, and it makes it very easy to get into the flow state of learning, because this is how I've always approached learning, because now you have a bunch of sources to learn off of, and instead of having to go out of your way to find the information in a disciplined sense, you're instead picking and choosing what to learn. It's like a library. Now, after you've researched everything, question everything. Once you've done researching everything, I want you to question everything. Question everything you just learned. What you are doing here is that you're putting the knowledge into your thoughts and thinking about it. So thus, it does two things. One, increases your understanding of the topic, because the more you think about it, the more logical you'll become. Logic comes from thinking. And two, it makes you more obsessed with it because it's in your mind more. I question everything that comes into my mind. I question every topic I learn about. And by far, questioning everything will boost your intelligence and IQ, because you are practicing logic here. When you question things, it increases your logic, because logic does come from questioning things, you know? You question how societies run. You question the things you just learned. You question why people act like this. And when you question, it brings you to want to learn more, because you're starting to come up with different answers to the question. You're answering your own questions, okay? And when you're doing that, trying to enable your logical thinking onto the subject you're learning, right? The thing that it does puts the subject into your mind, and then you want to pursue it more. You want to learn more about that subject because you just started thinking about it. And thus, that's the entire method. You can do this with anything. You can do this with anything you want to learn, okay? You need sources because without, a source of information to latch onto, it's going to be hard. You need to use that source, and then eventually that source is going to lead you to another source and another source and another source, and then you question everything. Then that makes you want to learn more about it. And that's how obsession works. And that's how you can become obsessed with something. The more you think about it, the more passionate you become about it. So here's a simplified version of everything I just said. Gather the source, learn from source, get new source, learn from the new sources, question everything you just learned, rinse and repeat. The world is your library. Okay, so let's talk about bias now, because people are going to think, but the sources, they bias. What if the sources bias? Okay, some sources are inaccurate. Like Wikipedia does have a lot of inaccuracies, and that is a problem. However, you don't have to worry about the sources being inaccurate, because I want you to learn from things that are inaccurate and then go to another source and then find out yourself that what you just read was wrong, because you need to be able to see that what you learned about something was incorrect, because that actually increases your rate of learning. It makes you more logical, and that is a process I went through, and I'm glad I did, because it gives me a better understanding of the world, a greater understanding. Okay, because if you were to learn from one source and it's inaccurate, then you learn from another source and it's better than this source, and this one's actually accurate, it gets you to question what you just learned, and thus your understanding increases, right? And you get a better understanding. So that's it. It's very easy. Now go learn about ancient Rome now. Keep never quitting.